I went from Predator to this. I'm going downhill real quick. Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to the 4th video for the month of Gorror, and this time I am taking a look at a little movie called Always Watching, a Marble Hornets story. Now, if you do not know who Marble Hornets is, they're the guys that pretty much made Slenderman so popular. I'm sure Slenderman was a meme first and he was popular because of that, but Marble Hornets made Slenderman even creepier. Now, to be fair, I've never watched Marble Hornets, but I know it's a very popular series, and I know it's very creepy. I have seen some stuff about Marble Hornets, like maybe highlights, I guess. I don't know. I watch stuff on YouTube. I'm like, oh, it's pretty creepy. I guess they do it right, I guess. So, I was a little interested in this because if you do not know, if you couldn't tell by the poster, this is a Slenderman movie. The first, I think, official Slenderman movie, if you don't count the documentary that came out about Slenderman. This is the first actual Slenderman movie, official. I'm talking about like actually went to DVD, maybe made some money on VOD or something like that. Not some crappy fan film that went on YouTube. I watched one of those and it was pretty crappy. But this is the first official Slenderman movie. At least I believe so. And I was looking forward to it because it's the guys that made Slenderman so creepy, at least from what I heard. So, I was expecting this movie to be at least tolerable. And funny enough, it's called Always Watching because this movie is so fucking boring, it is a challenge to watch the screen the entire time. Always Watching is one of the most inept horror movies I've seen in a little while. And I'm not saying it's like truly terrible. It is just a boring, not scary, not entertaining one bit horror movie that, you know, kind of has Slenderman in it. There might be a couple of interesting ideas, but for the most part, all the characters are completely unlikable. The acting is terrible. The dialogue is atrocious. You spend way too much time listening to these idiots talk to each other. You don't care about anybody. There is no moment in this movie that you're like, ah, okay, I kind of like this guy. Everybody is a turd. There's a love triangle. I don't give a shit. It's a Slenderman movie. The fuck? It's not Twilight. The fuck am I watching? And there's just so many moments. Like the main character of the movie, it's not Slenderman, that's not the main character, even though I would like to see way more Slenderman, especially since he's played by Doug Jones in this, which is amazing, even though you don't see him, or I think he just stands around and moves his hands a little bit. But, I would have liked to see more of Slenderman, but no, our main character is a creeper, who is an insane psychopath, completely unlikable, crazy person who stalks people, and we're supposed to like this character. The other two characters, the girl and the other guy that likes the girl, just terrible characters. Completely awful, not scary at all. There's a couple of interesting ideas with Slenderman whenever he actually pops up and haunts these people and like screws with them, that like Slenderman actually controls the people, and you can see Slenderman in like footage actually controlling the people, making the people do horrible things, which is a decent idea. I'm sure that's actually part of the Slenderman myth, but seeing it in the movie is actually kind of interesting to watch the Slenderman kind of like pretty much like doing this at times, like controlling. He doesn't actually do this, but he moves his hands around controlling people and stuff. He's the puppet master pretty much. I thought that was really interesting. And the visual of Slenderman is still creepy. So there's some times where Slenderman pops up and you're like, Slenderman, scary, he has no face, he has a suit on, like, but just working with the visual of Slenderman isn't gonna work for your movie, okay? It might work like a couple times where you're like, oh, it's Slenderman, I'm creeped out. But if he just keeps popping up, you're not going to be scared. And he does definitely do that throughout the film, where he just pops up and jump scare. I even wrote down notes. I wrote down notes. Look at these notes. I wrote down notes. Look at this shit. I never do this. I wrote down notes. All right, let me tell you what the hell I hate about this, okay? Bad acting, telegraphed jump scares, the creepy-ass main character. There's sometimes where the dialogue, even though it's terrible, there's times where it's inaudible, where you can't even hear them because it's so ineptly made. It's slow as all hell. It's so boring. You follow the main character as he creeps around being a complete douche, and then even when he talks to the other characters, they're complete douches. It's terrible, and it's so generic too. It's the main character and all these other characters kind of want to research like what's with this Slenderman thing. Every time someone goes missing or something, Slenderman is a part of it or something. It's terrible. It's so bad. The dialogue, I already said, is awful and inane. The generic ass use of found footage. This is a found footage movie and it's so generic. There's nothing that's original about whatsoever. The regular scares kind of work. Not the jump scares, like ones where it's actually supposed to be kind of creepy and setting atmosphere, kind of works at times. But the jump scares do not. They're not scary. So telegraphed. You know exactly what's about to happen. And it's so hilarious when it does. Because you're just like, they thought that was clever. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Slenderman deserves better. I think he is a really creepy figure considering he is just a guy with no face and a business suit and he's tall. He's a creepy dude and he just shows up in pictures sometimes. I wish they used him better. I wish this was a better movie because I do like the Slenderman myth. It's fake, obviously, it's a myth, but sometimes, a myth can be really creepy even though you know damn straight it's fake. Sometimes you're just in your room and maybe you turn out the lights, you're about to go to bed, and then you hear like a creak, like, the fuck was that? Like that. And then you get scared. And that's what I like about Slenderman. He's just a guy that could stalk you. He doesn't come up and just slit your throat and that's it. Like, oh, fuck the wound or something. He just stares and controls you sometimes, and screws with you. And they've failed completely. It's a terrible movie with terrible characters, terrible dialogue. You remember when I said it really isn't a terrible film? I take it back. It's a terrible film. It's not one of the worst movies ever, but it is a bad movie that should have never came out. And I know it's straight to DVD, and it's made by Marble Hornets, who aren't, I wouldn't say terrific filmmakers, definitely, but it's a bad movie. Sorry. I give it a this is gonna seem, I'll give it a 6 out of a 40. I was gonna give it a 5 out of a 40. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 40. It's fucking abysmal. I really hated it. It was so bad. So there you go. Always watching. I was always watching. Now I'll never watch it again. Should have changed that title. Should have called it Slenderman Stands Around for 5 seconds every 20 minutes into the movie, or call it Creep. Creep Part 2. Creep was a great movie, but this one should have been called Creep because the main character is a fucking creep. So anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Until next time, goodbye.